product of the Nerd Element.
Hi everyone, welcome to 324B21, the Orphan Black Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kimberly, and with me as always is Shawn Kimberly.
Hello, everybody. Everybody. Okay, I can't sing. Sorry.
Well, we are back to talk to you about the newest episode of Orphan Black. It is the second to last episode.
Oh my God.
So next week is the finale, the series finale, and I don't even know what to do with myself.
Yeah, I've told my friend, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come out to your birthday party because I have to watch the finale. She's like, okay. I'm like, I can't sing anyway, so, being karaoke, obviously not going to work out. So I'm like, we'll meet up. I'll take you for cheesecake. It'll work out.
What? I want cheesecake?
Well, if you lived closer, I would buy you Garrett's popcorn and cheesecake and fatten you up like the witch in, Hansel and Gretel, but...
Man, well, I'm going to tell you guys in that next episode that I'm going to be stress eating. I'm definitely going to be stress eating. I've already turned down a couple of invitations to go out, and I'm like, I can't. I want to just sit there and watch Orphan Black by myself. I've actually I think the people near me are having a Orphan Black party.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I don't want to watch. I can't watch with people. I just need to be alone by myself. And just have my emotions. That's what I need. Because I know it's going to be emotional. And I feel like it needs to be 2 hours to wrap everything up. And it's only going to be an hour.
I don't see how. I don't.
And
I know I did say this episode, I'm like, oh my God, my stomach hurts so bad. Because everything that was happening, I'm like, my anxiety, my stomach, my ulcer, I'm dying.
It was very stressful. Speaking of which, the episode that we are going to review today is One Fettered Slave. And so a lot of stuff happened in this episode, but not enough to make me feel like, oh, this is going to be really easy to wrap this up for in the next episode, whatever, 45-minute episode. I don't feel like that. And maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's just because I just don't want it to end. But I still feel like there's too many...
There's a lot of loose ends.
Yeah, I feel like that. So, but anyway, we should get started. So,
okay, let's jump in.
Let's just jump in. Yeah, Helena is being transported. You kind of just get flashes. So, it looked kind of like she was on a stretcher or something, but you don't really know because she's going in and out of consciousness. And then she has a memory of being back in a convent / school, which is I think it's a school because convents don't house children. I've been in a convent before because I was bad at a school and they sent me over to the convent to get yelled at.
Dang, I just had a ruler across the knuckles. Old school Catholic school, let me tell you.
But see, that's the thing. This is the problem that I have with of course, this wasn't in America, but this is the problem that I have with that. I'm she's only in her mid-20s. What? She's playing maybe somebody in their mid-20s, mid to late 20s. Way past the time that they were, because they don't even smack people now. I don't
know. They probably should, but I get it.
Yeah, they probably should. But again, this wasn't in the U.S. or Canada, so. Anyway, she was stealing chocolates from. It was a convent, but she was stealing chocolates from a nun's stash, in her drawer or whatever, because it was her room.
Yeah, because it was a very awkward moment as she was shoving chocolate in her face, and then the nun comes in and lays on her bed. And I'm like, wait, whoa. I need therapy.
I totally I like chocolate too, but when she was shoving it in her face like that, I started what? Cause I was it's too much.
She was chipmunking that stuff into her cheeks.
She really was. And they probably really gave her real chocolate to work with. I probably messed that scene up a couple times on purpose. Speaking of which, I was wondering, and I responded to somebody's tweet. I'm like, why didn't they use Charlotte?
Everybody was questioning that. Everyone.
And I don't know because I felt like she wasn't significantly younger than Charlotte. But I'm really bad at telling the like people's ages. Um, so maybe she was. She also, by the way, had like hazel eyes, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's that? Her eyes were significantly lighter.
Was?
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
I did. I always notice that because it like bugs me, especially in movies when like they do kids and like they have blue eyes and then they have brown eyes when they grow up. I'm like, that doesn't happen. Um,
Only when they're babies, and then it's like a month. That's the only time. Then they change.
that is so weird to me because that doesn't happen to us. Like I don't understand that, but that I know it does happen, but it doesn't happen when they're like old or
Yeah.
the hair changes color too, but yeah, she's
Okay, I had a problem with the hair, but we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So she's like eating chocolate, and that nun comes in, like, and yeah, does what she does. And then she gets like Helena gets caught being in there by the nun. And the nun gets really, really like mad and like drags her like to a bucket and starts pouring bleach over her head as like a punishment.
I know. I thought she was shoving her face into bleach and like peroxide. I'm like, is she trying to kill her?
Yeah, no, I thought she was just like pouring on her, but like, why would you? First of all, like, I'm sure it's like burning her skin, but I'm like, why would you do like you bleach? Some people like actually pay to get that done. Like, why would you think this would be a punishment? But she probably said something about like cleansing her or whatever like that.
Yeah, they're like, now that everyone will know you're like the demon inside. I'm like, what? What the hell does that even mean? I'm sorry, but so you're saying people with blonde hair are the devil? What are you saying? And why did her hair suddenly become curly then?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Again, it's another thing. I pour bleach in my hair. That's not something that happens. So I've never. I don't know how that works.
Okay, I'll tell you. I've had a double process to get red with my hair. So they bleach it because my hair's so dark sometimes. Thankfully, now I don't do that because that's really bad. But when I had to do that, my hair didn't suddenly become curly. It didn't suddenly become like this crazy white blonde. It just became, it looked like I had spaghetti in my hair. But it was just like, I'm watching this and going, I don't understand that. And then how is it like, because obviously she didn't put it over her whole head, so she had dark roots. Okay, fine. But the curly hair and the dark roots, and how is it forever this dark roots and blonde hair?
That's what I was like. So her hair was like permanently damaged, or she just dyes it and manages to get the same exact root pattern every single time that she dyes it. Which was interesting is like they're explaining that's why she's paler and she has red. And I don't know if that would actually happen. It could be that she like had those are burns.
Okay.
So
see, I thought it was because you didn't see that right away because the crazy nun, which I still don't know what the hell she's seen in a school that got her hot and bothered, but whatever. She like throws her in a closet, which I know you're not there yet. Which, okay, lack of sun, lack of decent food, because basically she was eating the chocolate she shoved in her pocket, but it seemed like she was there a really long time.
No, I don't think that she was, but I noticed when because I didn't notice the first time, but I watched it the second time. I noticed that when she was put in there, she was already like her face was already pale, and she already had red right around where Helena has red.
Okay, see, I didn't notice the red around her face, so maybe from the fumes and because I think she did shove her face into it.
Well, I think that'll burn you if I'm not mistaken, like bleach if you use it. So I'm guessing that that's what that is. Although I don't know if it would make your skin go pale like that and permanently. I question that, but like I think that's what they were getting at, that there was burns. What I want to know is, when did Sister Irene stick up for her to get her tongue cut out? Because she didn't stick up for her there. She just kind of looked at her and didn't say anything. So
maybe it was after that, and sometime between there and like the closet. Well, the ending of the closet, maybe.
We didn't see any of that, and I was like, what? I didn't see any of that. Like, boo! I wanted to see what she actually did. In this lawless place, apparently.
Aren't they also the orphans too? So, maybe that was part of it.
Yeah, but you're gonna cut out a nun's tongue like that? What?
Hey, they're hardcore. They don't just slap your knuckles with rulers there. Apparently, they bleach the hell out of your head and then cut out tongues. So
I'm like, this lawless place. That's what. But anyway, yeah, so she gets locked in the closet for Lord knows how long, and yeah, and to me, clearly her skin and her hair never recovered, apparently. So they like jump to S's funeral. So this is something that we had talked about last podcast where we were like, I wonder how it's going to pick up. Are we going to pick up with Sarah finding Mrs. S, or are we just going to pick up at a funeral? And we pick up at a funeral. And
we pick up with the fandom crying.
Right? Sarah speaks about S, and Kira, has a little breakdown. So Felix, Sarah was going to read the letter that Mrs. S left, but Felix reads it for her while she tends to Kira, which is really, I thought she was going to write a just in case letter, I love you, blah, 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 but she wrote it like, what the heck? Sorry guys, they're like working on an air conditioning system below me, so it's making that noise. They told me that they were done.
That's just really Kim's stomach because she's been stress eating.
It's totally. I had like 3 street tacos for lunch a couple hours ago, and I'm so full. They were bomb though. I'm kind of mad because I literally went outside and found the air conditioning guy who's making that noise, and he said, "Oh, I'm done. Don't worry about it." So,
yes.
if he does it again, I might go down there and be like, "What the? You told me you're done. We wouldn't be recording if you weren't." All right, sorry guys. I'm probably not going to cut this out either. Anyway, so she, Felix reads this letter, and it was literally like she was like
she knew,
and I'm just like, wow. I don't know. It just made it sadder for me.
Oh God, I was crying. Like, I think this was the point that Jason looks over because he happened to be home, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to go in the other room." Because I'm just like, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go play on the computer or something." I'm like, "Okay." Because he's like, "Jesus, it's like 2 minutes in and you're crying." He's like, "This isn't gonna be a good episode." So I'm like, yeah, next week it's gonna be just as bad. So, yeah, my poor husband subjected to me like getting to the ugly cry point because. Even when you see Felix trying to read it and he's starting to crack, it's like, oh God, I can't. Don't do it. Because once your favorite characters start to crack, you're going to just lose it. And that was what was happening when his voice cracked. And, they go to his sister and she looks at him like, I thought she was going to start reading it. I was like, oh God, this is rough. This is so rough.
It really was. And everybody was there, and Donnie was there. Well, not everybody was there because the clones couldn't be there because then you have to explain it. But it was just kind of everybody looked sad. Art's facial expression, Donnie's facial expression. I just think that was oh wow. It's just it really kind of hit.
Yeah. I mean, S was a main person in all of these lives because she was the one who was trying to basically keep her family together, and as soon as they figured out what was going on, in more detail, she was right on top of everything, and I was just like, holy crap. So yeah, she was kind of like the rock to all of these people. You've never seen her falter.
Because you don't think that she ever will, and I think it was probably a shock for them, and I don't know. It was sad.
It was very sad.
Speaking of the clones, Allison and Cosima are talking about S via Skype, and so because they couldn't go, because again the questions would have been asked. So we find out Sarah did find Mrs. S because one of them mentioned that, she found her mom, and I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine? Jeez. That must have been horrific. So we find that out. We also find out Delphina's in France for some reason. And that
she is always in France.
And she has, and then Sarah has not cried one bit yet. So she's obviously still shell shocked. And I'm like, uh-oh, when she gets to rest for a second, she might have a meltdown.
Yeah, well, that's natural.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, uh-oh. She's, keeping it in. So, and that's probably just because she's trying to put on a brave face for Kira. Like, you can't fall apart when your kid's looking to you.
Right.
So there's that. We're at a like a not a wake, but like what do you call those little things after a funeral where everybody's house? They're kind
It's
of
just kind of like the gathering
yeah.
for food because everybody brings you food.
I don't remember what you call it, but that's where we are now at Mrs. S's house, and Sarah is watching kind of Neo Lucian self-destruct on the news, on a news feed on her phone,
Which I think was at least a nice little plus for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like but I don't feel like it's gonna really take them all the way down. I don't know. I have doubts.
Well, it's kind of like, oh, sorry guys, they're doing the drilling again. It's kind of like, I think it's a faux sense of accomplishment.
Okay.
Right? So like, they're like, oh, Neo's going down or whatever. Everybody's safe now.
You're like,
I
yeah.
don't know about
that. Let's not believe that yet.
You're still waiting to like see if Delphine's the bad guy. I know you.
I'm waiting to see how everything's gonna like implode around us. And it better not be something stupid like Kira wakes up and she's like, Mom, I have to tell you this dream. I would be super pissed.
No, not at all. I don't want to. Shh. That's like a lost thing. Right?
I know. Everything's a lost thing at this point.
Like, never do that to us again. That's probably in some sort of like textbooks for, I would think, like film classes on what not to do because of the reactions that it had.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know a lot of people were pretty ticked.
Alrighty. So Al, I think his last name is Al Khatib, is still at large. They made a point to tell you that on the news thing. So I'm like, oh, that's gonna come back to play because why would they mention it? Art tries to make Sarah eat turkey chili, and I was like, dang it, now I want turkey chili because I love me some turkey chili. You don't understand, like, I always ask people how they make their chili and how they make their tuna fish because those are two things that I really like to eat. And it took me a year and a half, but I did mix together the perfect chili recipes. Turkey is hard because turkey is kind of dry when you use turkey breast meat. Sorry, I know I went off at a tangent, but it like got me. And I was like thinking about turkey chili for like the next 5 minutes. So he's trying to get her to eat. Sarah blames Rachel, and I'm like, so does Shawn.
I do.
And Art reminds Sarah that S didn't blame Rachel. Art recognizes the sacrifice that S made for his family. And so he kind of pledges his loyalty. He's like, whatever you need, I'm here. I recognize what happened and how she did this, not only for you guys, but my family was threatened too. And she did this for me as well. So I thought that was nice. So Sister Irene shows up. And Felix walks her over to Sarah, and she gives Sarah Helena's book. So Sarah automatically realizes that Neo has Helena.
Well, she knew something was up the second she sees the nun, and she's like, and I love it because Felix is like, hi, you might be in the wrong house.
Right? Yeah, she's like, uh-oh. Speaking of Helena, so Helena starts to come to in an ambulance, and she sees Mark, and he's whining about Gracie, and she says Mark's name, but she kind of gets put under by Cody and the nurse that is with her, and you can tell that the way that they're talking, they want to deliver her babies, which...
Oh, I so wanted her to say Gracie's dead.
I know, I did too, and I think she would have had she had the chance and like didn't get like put under. But But twins are usually premature anyway because really, there's a reason why the average human has one kid per pregnancy. So they tend to be premature because they get cramped in there. So that's already scary to me, and to like pull them out before she's to term like really kind of freaks me out too. So I was worried.
Yeah, you don't just do that just because. Sorry, no. They're just being, ugh.
I know, and plus since you don't really have a sense of like you have a sense that they don't have a sense of morality, right? So they might not care whether the babies are alive or dead, depending on what they want. They don't really care if the kids are in pain or anything like that. It's not their interest to raise these kids. Like, they want them for science reasons only. And after what they did with, what was his name? Beast Boy. After what they did with him, like, you're just like, God, It's just kind of terrifying.
Yeah. I'm not happy.
Giannis, I think his name was. Something like that. She goes, when Helena goes under, she goes back to the memory of being in the closet, and she's in there, and then Thomas is when he meets her for the first time. So I guess the nuns brought him in, and he like introduces himself, and he said he's going to go take care of her. So that's how she ends up meeting him. So Sarah's in a conference call with Cosima, Scott, Allison, and Adele is there at the house as well, as Art, and they know Gracie came to see Helena because the nun is still there writing stuff down for Adele to reiterate to the group, and the nun said that there was blood in the room, so they're assuming that they grabbed Helena and Gracie is probably dead. Donnie is there as well, and he asked Cosima about going to the island. Cosima doesn't know if he would take them to the island, but she does know that he's going to need their cord blood. So that's a little disconcerting.
Yes.
Felix wants to go see Rachel. Sarah doesn't want to have any parts to do with it. Rachel, but she's also like still shell-shocked, so she's like, what am I supposed to do? My daughter lost her granddaughter, or her grandma, and Felix just says, you need to be here with her. Art says, I got this, let me take care of it, and Felix is antsy, so he wants to go with Art. So they go to find Rachel. Rachel is still in the same hotel room. I'm like, why, after that man tried to choke you, did you just not get... I would have been on a flight that night.
I don't know what she's thinking. She's just like, it's fine, whatever.
She's still in the hotel room, and I'm like, WTF. Felix tells Rachel... Well, he says a lot of things, but he tells her that they took Helena. And it's interesting because he comes in very hostile towards Rachel. And then him and Art seem to remember how Rachel lost her eye again. Because they soften up when she turns around. And it's as if, remember, she got that because she also saved Kara getting that. So I thought that was interesting. Felix wants to know if they went to the island, and Rachel says not necessarily.
Well, yeah, you can't just assume that they're going to be there.
Yeah, the way that she says it, there's like a little bit more to that, but that is the last scene that they show us with that, and they pan to another scene, which is an abandoned building with a makeshift hospital room, and it sets this this is a scene you can tell where they're going to put Helena. And they kind of wheel in Helena, and then it goes to Mr. Ferdinand, who is talking to PT, and he gives him some sort of needle to inject himself with, and he pledges his loyalty. to PT saying, basically those who are still here are loyal. PT gives himself the shot, and then it's like he's getting a shot of adrenaline because he's like, "Arr!" And then he takes off his wig. I'm like, I was like, there was a reason why his hair bugged me. I didn't think it was that. I thought it was because he looked like Colonel Sanders. But he said, it's just slid back his wig, and I was like, wow.
He went like Lex Luthor on us, taking that off all of a sudden. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I just saw him take it off and slap somebody with it. I was like, no, BT, why? I was not prepared. I was laughing. I should have been. It wasn't funny. It wasn't a funny moment, but I was on the ground because he took off his wig. All right, so Helena is basically getting prepped, and then PT comes storming in, all adrenaline up and everything, saying, "Let's have some twins." I'm like, you jerk.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, God, I just want to punch him. I can't help it. He needs to be punched because he's just so annoying. I can't with this guy. I want him to be taken down in the worst possible way.
Piece by piece. Yeah, we'll see what happens with him. Sarah is walking through S's house, and she's kind of looking at the different stuff, where they grew up, and you kind of mark your height on the wall. And she's looking at all that stuff, and then she looks like she found a jacket or something in Mrs. S that she was smelling, just stuff that reminded her of Mrs. S. And it's kind of a sad moment. Rachel tells Felix it's not safe for PT to go back to the island, that he's been exposed. And Art finds, a plane ticket that Rachel has, and is, clearly Rachel is about to run. Then
yeah, she finally wisened up, but it was how long? It's been a couple days.
Yeah, that should have happened a long time ago. Art realizes that his partner, Angie 2.0, and Helena went missing around the same time. And Rachel mentions, yes, she's very loyal, so that wouldn't be surprising if she went to go get her. So they go to leave, but they send Scott to sit with Rachel to make sure she doesn't run. And this reminded me of the first time he was doing that, and then they were playing games, and I just remember them showing the shot of her with her tabletop gaming pieces near her. She just looked so irritated, and I thought it was hilarious. I just started laughing again. I was laughing at inappropriate moments, but that's what I remembered, and I thought it was funny. Also, the way that, and I think I tagged you when I said this, and to all the people out there that are older or born in the 90s that will not know this reference at all, but there was a show called Seinfeld, and the main character is Jerry Seinfeld, and he has this nemesis Newman, who's a postman, and the way that Scott said Rachel's name is the way that Jerry used to say Newman's name.
Newman.
I know. It made me laugh all the time, and that's exactly what I thought about when I heard Scott say that. All right. So Felix calls Sarah from the police station in the next scene, and he basically updates her on everything that's happening. He's sitting in a cop, Art's car, while Art goes to the police station, and he's in the parking lot. Interpol has taken over. Angie 2.0 has already talked to them, so probably thrown Art on the bus. We don't know.
Oh God, I seen her, and she winks at him. I was like, oh, you little bitch. I was so pissed, and I just kind of wanted her to get shot, right there. I'm a horrible person.
I just kind of want to punch her in the face and take off her jacket and set it on fire, because she clearly loves that leather jacket that she always has on, so I just want it to burn in front of her eyes.
Ugh.
I know. That's weird, but I was thinking about that too. I had a lot of emotions going through this show. Okay, so yeah, Art's gonna have to talk to them at some point, and he realizes that, because his boss comes over and basically tells him that, And so, like, Art's kind of, like, antsy because he's all like, I don't know, like, I don't know if my boss is in it or what. Like, he doesn't know how to trust.
Well, yeah, I mean, can you blame him? After so much has happened, you have no clue.
PT is like Jonesin. Like, he looks like a crack addict walking around. And
Thank you.
he wants the babies out now. And Cody says, you can hold on. You need to wait. And he wants to do a C-section. And Cody's like, no, are you kidding me? Like, that could have so many adverse effects to these kids, and we need them to be all right. And so he's like, if you're not going to do a C-section, then I want, Pitocin, basically, the hormone treatment.
Which, by the way, could totally, depending on how the person is, it can put the babies in danger. Because they gave that to induce for my sister-in-law, and they had to hurry up and push something through to, like, counteract it, because my nephew's heart rate, like, went crazy high, and so did hers, and they were worried that it could actually stroke out.
Yeah, it's very common for them to give Pitocin because it's like a market, right? They want to get you in and out. This is the way it is now. Be like, it used to, I guess back in the, I don't know, I want to say olden days, but I have no idea because it was before my time where you could be in there for a couple of days. But they literally want you in.
Oh yeah, you're out in like 24 hours.
Right. So
like,
they put that in there to like move you along. So all you people like out there that want to have natural like births and stuff, like, don't let them give you that. Just let it come, right? Just let it happen when it happens. Don't let them. It's a hormone that's going to force you into labor. Like, why? Don't do that.
Right. Yeah. If I ever have a kid, I better have like the meds to kill the pain, though.
Yeah.
I can't do that part.
Contractions don't sound nice at all.
No. Imagine really bad cramps, like 100 times worse, and a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's just.
There, I've just made that just so pleasant, haven't I?
But I can totally see why it would speed up somebody's heart rate like that. So that's very, yeah, warning against that.
I just feel like that's a bad idea with twins. Already, she's probably stressed already because, well, let's see, you killed Gracie in front of her. You have her tied down. She knows you're going to take her babies and try to experiment on them. You have crazy Baldy over here who's like talking about her like she's, a freaking petri dish, and they're just doing whatever. So yeah, maybe let's not add to it.
I know. This is not, like, all this stuff that's happening. I was like, this is not just a good way to come into the world right now. Helena is, like, having another flashback, and she's being groomed, basically, to kill the clones. They just show her going through, like, this. She has, like, dolls, and she's, like, saying that, there's an original, and the original stays safe here, where I keep her safe, and, like, bad clones, and blah, blah, blah. And basically, Tomas is brainwashing her at an early age to kill these clones, so we see a little bit of that process.
Yeah, that was a little disturbing, because wasn't it, she's, like, dirty, oh, God, what did she say exactly? Fornicators or something like that, or breeders, something like. I couldn't believe that this little kid is supposed to be saying this.
Well, again, she was being brainwashed, so by Tomas, who was like putting. I mean, that's what you do. Like you're putting like ideas into this kid's head, so when they get old enough that they believe this stuff. It's sad. It's sad the way she was treated.
But she made a pretty decent Barbie mansion by herself, by the way. Just put that out there. I wasn't that talented.
No, I wasn't either. Cody tells Helena that they're inducing labor, and Helena, of course, objects. Because who wouldn't? Like, my babies aren't ready. Like, no, this is not a good idea.
I couldn't stand Cody this whole episode.
Well, can anyone really ever stand Cody any episode?
She just has this look all the time like she's better than everybody, and she's going to probably try to turn you into like a flying monkey or something. I don't know.
Yeah. She's not a flying. That's exactly what she is. All right, so Art goes back to Felix, like, because he goes back to his car and then tells him that 2 more board members bit the dust, and that's why Interpol is there. They were found dead, so they're investigating. But he does mention that they do a conference call first, so Felix gets on the phone with Cosima, and Art's still there. Of course, Hell Wizard is on the phone, Rachel, and they are going through how many board members have died. And then we kind of like find out, like, Art does mention that his boss is like saying dig, keep digging, but on the like down low, so we find out his boss isn't in on it. And he says that quickly, so I don't know if everybody caught that. And they want to know where to find Khatib, who is still alive because he's still on that list and he's not crossed off. He wasn't found dead. And so that is their goal, is to find him. And Cody is arguing with PT in the next scene, and PT wants Mark dead, basically. And Cody doesn't. You can see that Cody does not want that, but PT's like, we have his gene. He's no longer useful, so.
Well, when PT drew that line in the sand, I'm like, okay, so Cody has to finally decide what side she's on right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. Would she actually choose PT over, her kids, basically, the last of them?
Of course she would.
Ugh.
There's no doubt in my mind. And then, we do find out that it was his order to kill Gracie. That was not her idea. She was going to let Gracie live so her and Mark could like run off into the sunset or whatever. Mr. Ferdinand is threatening Al-Khatib in the same, wherever they met with the board. It's just him and Ferdinand. And then Felix walks in as a kind of a distraction. He's talking about like Art, like he's in the wrong board place. And then Art walks in and tells Mr. Ferdinand to put his hands up. And Mr. Ferdinand tries to shoot Art. So Art ends up shooting him. But he ends up killing him, and they needed him to get information.
I was so surprised. Like, so surprised. The fact that Art actually shot the guy.
Oh,
because Art hasn't really gotten to that point. He's gotten close. So this was like the first time that I think this has actually happened. I felt bad for him.
Did you? Because he reached for a gun. Like, I didn't see that he had a choice.
I know, but still, Art's like, shit. This was not what I was expecting to do today, basically.
Yeah.
But then when you had Ferdinand like, oh, and this gun that I have is legally being carried. Okay, but pulling it on, say, a police officer is not legal.
I think he did it on purpose, though. I think he did it because he was not supposed to. He didn't want to give anything up. And if he had a cyanide capsule, I wouldn't be surprised if he bit it. Like, I think he did it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
That was like my whole thing. I was like, dude, and he like conned you right into it. And I thought I was mad a little bit about that because he knows it. But that was the take that I had. I have no idea if that's correct or not. So Sarah's on the phone with Art, and she shows concern for him, and is like, what, like, all this is happening to you. Are you okay? And he's like, I'm fine. She's like, you're lying. And he does mention his work, but like, this is not going to help because he just shot somebody. Meanwhile, Felix is trying to question Al-Khatib and not really getting much out of him. Goings on elsewhere is Mark, and he's getting ready for the cure. And Cody's getting an injection ready for whatever. But instead of a cure, he gets death. I mean, that's clearly what she's doing because we saw the conversation prior to this. She's being shady. And he's just like signing up for it. He's like, yay, I'm going to tie this around my arm and I'm going to get the cure right now. And I'm like, Mark, you were so dumb.
Well, and then doesn't he call her mom?
He does. He talks about his life and how he's excited about Gracie and how he wants to be a teacher, but he didn't go to school. And he's like, he said he's so happy because now I didn't have to worry about like being sick. But then he's like, oh, I feel sleepy. And I'm like, oh, geez. Yes, he did call her mom before he passed out. He said, good night, Mom.
I was like, oh, son of a... I couldn't believe that she did it. I honestly did not think she was going to cross that line. Yeah. Surprise, surprise, right? I was like, all right, maybe this is where she's like, I can't kill him.
No, dude. I was like, oh, he's going to die. There's no point for him to be alive once Gracie died. I thought he was going to die.
Well, I thought he was going to find out and kill them all and then let Helena go. That was what I thought was happening. Obviously, that's not what happened.
Yeah. I guess I wish I could say it was sad, but I'm already like bitter at both of them, so. Helena starts having contractions and Cody talks her through them. Helena kills, and Helena goes back into like a memory where she killed her first clone, and it's in a church, but she didn't realize that the clones were like her, or she was a clone. So when she stabs this person in the back, mind you, but then when the lady falls backwards and she sees her face, she completely has a meltdown and she freaks out. And then she's back in her room where Thomas is, and she's like freaking out. And Thomas tries to tell her that she's the original. You're the original. You know, that's fine. You're the he's trying to calm her down, saying you're the original. This is righteous work. And we see when she starts cutting herself. Basically, it's a tally. I got that. I don't know what you got from it.
I thought it was like kind of self-flagellation. That for every time she has to do this, she would just cut herself to try to repent.
Okay, yeah. That's probably right. I was like, I think she's just keeping account, but it is keeping account, but she's punishing herself too. Like every time she does that, she cuts, and her back was like tore up in the beginning. Y'all remember?
Yeah.
So she killed a lot. She killed a lot.
I wonder how involved she was with Helsinki. I mean, we don't know.
That's a good question. Probably we will never find out the answer to. Thanks a lot.
Here's another question for you.
You should totally like tag them on Twitter and be like, I need to know this. Speak.
They're gonna be like, read the comic book.
So back to the contractions. Cody basically, Helena says, don't take my babies, they need a mother, and Cody basically degrades Helena and calls her a monster for killing her own sisters, and just leaves Helena, who kind of breaks. She see her, she's just all the stuff that the guilt she's already had is just all coming back to her right now.
I was like, that is the worst move. And first of all, pot and kettle much.
Right.
Because seriously, you just killed your kid in the next room.
Mm-hmm. It's who you calling evil, please?
Right? I can't stand her. I was so happy when things happened.
Yeah, so she called her a monster, and I'm like, you're a monster. Anyway, Rachel is trying to get Helena's whereabouts out of Al-Khatib, but he doesn't really know where she is. And he says, all I know is Rachel has the biggest target on her back. And so Kira's feeling Helena that she's in trouble, that she's in labor, tells Sarah. Sarah tells the others, and Sarah's like, you know what? If they want you so much, Rachel, let's give them you. Helena...
Rachel looks surprised. Like, what?
Yeah. And it just kind of ended there and went back to Helena, who manages to bring this hospital tray near her forward to get scissors. Then it goes back to PT and Cody. And PT...
he looked just crazy and completely cracked out.
I want to know what they injected him with. I do, but they didn't really say. But he's acting like it was adrenaline, but adrenaline has to be injected into the heart, I think. I don't know. Anyway, he's being a jerk, right? And he asks basically how she is doing now since she had to euthanize Mark, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm going to have a cigarette. She leaves, but Angie 2.0 comes in and puts Al-Khatib on the phone, and he offers up Rachel. Which, they jump at because they're like, they're mad he's still alive, but he's like, I got something you want more, basically for my life. So he drops off a car with Rachel in his trunk, but it's not really Rachel, it's Sarah. And AG 2.0 finds them and takes her in to wherever they are.
I wanted her to get slapped too, hard.
Wait, maybe it'll happen. You never know. Helena tries to cut off her cuffs, but it's it's literally the scissors are like if you were to take toy scissors and then try to cut metal. It's just not gonna happen. But it doesn't work. So instead, she says bye to her babies, and then she cuts her she stabs her wrist, so she starts to bleed out.
And I think I probably yelped. And if you were on Twitter at the same time, all you seen was a whole lot of swearing from a whole lot of people. Because everybody was ticked that happened. And I'm just thinking, oh God, they're going to kill off all the clones. Who's going to be left? So I was freaking out, especially when you just see the blood start coming out everywhere. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow. They're going to do... Because they said that they were going to break Twitter. I'm like, okay, well... yeah, I was not happy. I think I just wrote damn, and then I was just sitting here sulking. Cosima is tracking the car, and then Art realizes that they're going towards Dyad, their old wing, but they're actually at an asylum. Do they still have those? I don't think they call them that anyway. Hell Wizard actually works security at this building. Go figure that. You know what? He has... Okay, so Hell Wizard works at security there because there's no one ever in his comic book shop. He doesn't make money off of that. He's too busy DJing and playing games. This guy is everywhere.
He's got to do a lot of odd jobs so he can pay the bills.
For a comic shop, but maybe he'd make some money at the comic shop if he wasn't off running around doing clone stuff. I just find it interesting that he's a one-stop shop. I'm a DJ. I'm a security guy. I play Dungeons and Dragons. All right. So Sarah is still dressed like Sarah basically, but as Rachel. I noticed that she had a leather jacket on. I'm like, come on, Rachel just wouldn't wear what you're having on right now. And her hair's disheveled. So Cody, when they put Sarah down in front of him, Cody reminds PT that it's his turn to do what is necessary, and Sarah tries to basically get PT talking about himself to kind of stall. Cody runs into the room because she's being called by the other doctor or nurse. I'm not sure what he is, and they need to save Helena. They put her arm up so the blood stops leaving her heart, and they're trying to save her. Meanwhile, PT starts ranting more information than Sarah ever wanted to know about Rachel. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a little uncomfortable, but...
And then Sarah called him father, which made PT stop and stalled him for a little bit. And then PT kind of sees through her and takes off her eye mask and wig. And Sarah jumps up and slices the side of his throat. I'm like, Sarah, Butterfingers, you need to aim better. Because she just gets the side.
Yeah, I was kind of ticked because I'm like, oh, so close. So close for that.
Angie 2.0 runs in and kind of shoves her back down. And PT wants to kill her, but then Cody comes running in saying that she needs her for a blood transfusion because, Helena lost a lot of blood and they need her, so she drags her off. Hell Wizard gets Scott inside the building. He's pretending to be a doctor with a heart transplant. And then Hell Wizard sets up, basically, it looks like they're trying to break into the security system while Scott keeps watch. One-stop shop, this man. He knows how to do a lot.
He's a hacker.
Among all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah...
He gets bored easy. What do you want?
Clearly. So Sarah calls out to Helena while donating blood, and she's like, "Don't leave me, meathead. Like, don't, come back, blah, blah, blah."
Who would have thought that an insult like meathead would have been endearing?
No, she likes it. So Cody wants to do a C-section, and like Sarah's like, "You can't cut her open. She just lost a lot of blood already, so you want her to lose more blood?" And Cody says, "If she can't deliver, I don't have a choice." But then Helena wakes up. Scott gets kind of antsy, but Hell Wizard manages to open the security doors, and Scott runs runs through them and lets Art out, or Art inside, but it does sound off an alarm once he opens the door. And he wants to help, but Art says, "You know what? You've done really well, Scott, but I need to take it from here, so you get you and your friend out." And he just pushes him out the door. It's like, "Get." Then Art,
which is kind of funny because Hell Wizard's still in the other section.
I know. Art, I don't know what you call what was in his hand. It's like a baton, but I think it shocks you. He pulled that out and he's like, "I'm gonna go beat some people right now." And
I think he was hoping to run into Angie, which
I hope so. It's totally gonna be a showdown between them, and I'm gonna be so happy. Unless he loses, then I'm gonna be very mad. The last scene is Helena, who starts to have contractions, or we thought, but she's faking it. She's faking it so Cody will come close to her, which she does to give her water, and then Helena just beats Cody senseless. She just takes her smack, 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 until she's just got face all bloody, throws her down to the ground. I was
so happy. I was literally cheering out loud. I'm like, yes! And then I got really worried about myself. Because
nobody likes
I was
her.
cheering for that.
Everybody was cheering for that. Nobody likes her. Same thing's going to happen with Angie 2.0. But yeah.
Now, do we think she's dead, though?
Cody?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think that... I didn't assume that she was dead.
Okay.
But looking at that, I think she's, she's hurt. She's really hurt. And so... Helena gets up, cuts herself loose and cuts Sarah loose, and then they get up to go run, but then her water breaks, and I'm like, oh, fade to black.
Yeah, because we're not freaking out enough, right? It's like, oh crap. Well, doesn't necessarily mean the babies are coming right then when your water breaks, but she's not gonna be able to move very fast.
It means they're susceptible to infection, so running around outside is not the best idea. Once your water breaks, you really should go to a hospital because there's nothing protecting that baby anymore between the outside and you. Well, I mean your body, but the water is protecting them from all kinds of things. Yeah. That's so I don't see her going any. Plus, she was already having contractions, so I'm like, you better stay. But how can you? So that's going to be very interesting. And they, like I said, they just fade to black. That was it. And they're going to wrap this up, in 45 minutes.
I don't see it. I don't see how. We're not getting all of our questions answered, is bottom line.
I'm wondering how many of them we're going to get answered. I have a feeling we're going to get only a couple because I just don't see that they have the time. I mean, I didn't look to see if there's going to be it's going to be longer, but I didn't think I heard anything. So... about it being longer, so I mean, in theory, they've got to wrap it all up. It's gonna be they set fire to the building and that's it. Everybody's gone and everybody's okay, and I'm gonna be like, what?
I don't know. I don't see it. I guess all we can do is wait. I'm not gonna be skeptical because I don't even know what could happen, how they can do this. But we'll wait and see. Basically, that's my attitude now.
True that. I'm not looking forward to it. I am and I'm not. It's the last episode of Orphan Black ever, and it's just I really like this show, so it's It's sad that it's coming to an end, but I'm glad that they weren't going to stretch it out and prolong the story like longer and water it down and make it awful. They had a set story. It said it's going to take this many seasons to get through, and they've done it. So kudos to them. Um, I'm anxious to see. Let's put it that way.
I think we all are.
So we will see. And I do apologize for this being late, guys. I had a lot of stuff going on yesterday, so I wasn't able to do it. So we are recording on a Tuesday. Hope to get this up tonight. The next episode, second to last episode, I'm probably going to... We'll probably record on Monday, Shawn, because I think I'm going to need the day. I think I'm going to need Sunday. Yeah. I really just don't... Like, I know how I get when series finales, when I've liked a show for so long, minus Lost, and it's going away. Like, I'm just gonna need some time to sit there and stare at a wall and be like, what am I gonna do?
We'll figure it out. Don't worry, folks. We will be here. It'll just may not be for a day or two.
Especially depending on what happens, right? So, yeah. I might just be in my happy place for 24 hours straight, so we'll see. But definitely, hopefully we'll do it Monday. I don't know. We'll have to look at our schedules, and hopefully we can pull that off. But all right, Shawn, why don't we tell the people where to find you?
Well, it's been fangirlzone.com. I am rebuilding my website, so right now I'm at fangirlzone.squarespace.com, or you can just find the Facebook page because everything's going there. So that is FG Zone on Facebook. And I have a new email. It's Shawn at fangirlzone. So there's that. And soon there'll be a bright, shiny new website coming soon.
Look forward to seeing that. All right, guys, you can find me at the Twitter account that we live tweet for this show at least one more time is at TNE_324B21pod. And then our main account is at The Nerd Element, and www.thenerdelement.com is where to find us. So thank you guys for listening. We're going to go down this road one more time. So we look forward to reviewing the final, it's hard for me to even say, I'm like, series finale next week.
It will be okay.
Anyway, yeah, I'm going to mentally prepare myself for that, guys. So, again, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye!
Bye!
Brought to you by The Nerd Element.